root. So you people are aware? Seems Nancy cannot mute herself. Let me mute her from this end. Confirm you can hear me before you start the class. And our topic today is on trial balance. Just a recap of the previous lesson. We were looking at the dual entry concept, where we said that for any debit entry, there must be a corresponding credit entry. And our topics today is borrowing widely on what we covered before, because a trial balance is simply a report of the balances in the journals. So those balances that you are getting after you close the journals, before you transfer them to the final books of account, that is the P&L. And I said P&L going forward, don't use this word. It is old school. We talk of statement of comprehensive income. Comprehensive income. We no longer use profit and loss account, but you should understand that whenever we are talking of the statement of comprehensive income, we are talking of the profit and loss account. And then the balance sheet is called the statement of financial position, because a balance sheet is supposed to be prepared as at a certain period of time. A statement of financial position. When you log in, only if you mute yourself. You cannot join a class late and you come making noise to others who logged in early. So we go on. So I was recapping. I was saying that the entries that we make in the double entry journals, we are supposed to take them to the final books of accounts. Before we take them there, to avoid the pain of doing all the necessary entries and at the end of the day the books fail to balance, it's prudent if you can record all your debits, all your credits, and see whether it will balance. And the thumb rule is assets is equal to liabilities plus capital. Don't forget these golden rules. Assets is equal to liabilities plus capital. Number 2, all expenses are debited. All expenses are debited. Number 3, all incomes are credited. All incomes are credited. So having mastered that, it becomes very easy. You will know that any balance that you get from those journals, depending on the nature of the journal. For example, rent is income. Incomes are credited. So you put it on the credit side. Data is a current asset. Motor vehicle is an asset. Bank is a current asset. Purchases are expenses. When we purchase, we spend. Wages, when we pay, we spend. They are debited. In other words, assets and expenses should be on this side, the debit side. Then on the credit side, we have 3 items. We have liabilities, we have capital, and we have income. And that is all for today's class. Any question? We've ended the lesson. So we just need to do an example or two to understand what I've said. And I repeat for purposes of emphasis. Double entry concept is for any debit entry, there must be a corresponding credit entry. That is what will prompt the books to balance. If you miss one debit entry and you credited it, you are going to have more values on the credit side than the debit, and vice versa. So for any debit entry that you make, ensure that there is a contra entry or there is a corresponding opposite entry. So you debit, you credit, you credit, you debit. Then from there, know the asset, know the accounting equation that assets is equal to liabilities plus capital. Then all expenses are debited, all incomes are credited. You'll be home and dry. Now we have an example there that is worked, and go through it your own free time. And that's to go to the, you have a question. So you can see after journalizing, this guy has been able to collect all the balances on the debit side. They are balancing at 1769, and then all the credits are balancing at 1769. So it is easier to transfer now this information to the necessary final books, which is comprehensive statement of comprehensive income and the statement of financial position. So let us look at the trial balance. Yeah, this is the question that I want us to check. Any question? I want to copy this. Go to an Excel sheet. We had an Excel sheet in our previous class. So to avoid the pain of doing the FA, do I have it? Like I lost it. We had workings in our last class. Anyhow, I can just open another Excel sheet and we work afresh. What I'd urge you is to do a lot of practices to perfect in the business of the debiting and crediting. Practice makes perfect. I don't know, my equation is misbehaving. Go to the portal and open the equation. I want to stop sharing. Go to the portal and open the equation. Transferring my question to the Excel for purposes of reference. I think that's all. To open my, I want to start journalizing. I want us to start journalizing. Just need to make one account, then I will be able to copy. Merge cells. So the first transaction there you can see started with, so this will be capital account. So debit side, then capital account, credit side. So there we are. And copy these accounts to the subsequent. But this now will be empty. I'll be filling them as the yoka. I'm doing this for purpose of saving time. Paste. Paste. So we can start. We'll create more accounts as they come by. So we are in our transaction number 1, which occurred on May 1st. And we've been told that the following took place during the month of May. Started we have the right information. They started farm with a capital of 250. Go back. So we are starting with a capital of 250. Who will give us the transaction? Will give us the double entry. What are we debiting? What are we crediting? Don't chat. Don't chat with me. These are class. Deborah is saying that she can't hear. Do you have any other person who has a problem of hearing? Are we good? Am I audible? Someone to confirm. Beatrice, can you hear me? Beatrice Kagendo? Beatrice, can you hear me? Diana?
Yes.
You can hear
Yes,
me?
you're audible. Yes.
Yes.
And she might need to work on her How will she be assisted? Deborah, kindly work on your mind. Let me respond to her. Kindly check. Kindly check your mic. So we start the business that brought us here. So our first transaction is started farm with capital in 250. What do we debit? Nothing. Is a capital account. Yeah. So the books that are being affected here is cash in hand and the capital account. So you'll come to the capital account. I won't indicate the date, but the account that is affected is cash. On the double entry, we are going to have that capital. So you can see what I'm talking about. This is now the corresponding credit entry. So we are talking of Yeah, so you can see what has happened. We have debited the cash in hand. We have credited the capital account. You go to transaction 2, what goods on credit from the following persons. So we have R. Kelly, we have PCOMs, we have J-Roll, we have D-Mobile, and we have iSIMs. What's the nature of these accounts? Are they creditors or debtors? Who are they? Who are these people? These are creditors. I'll just indicate them as C for purposes of differentiating them with data. So we have R. Kelly. I have another creditor by the name PCOMs. I have the third creditor by the name J. Roll. I have another one by the name D-Mobile. Before D-Mobile, I need to have more accounts. Let me take this. So the only difficult part is journalizing. Once you journalize, you just take the balances to the trial balance. If your journal entries were okay, then your books should balance. And there are some cases where they are okay and you are wrong. Yeah, we'll be coming to errors of commission, omission, etc. We'll be coming to errors later on. So we'll see that how that is possible. So we have D-Mobile. And the last creditor should have indicated here is a creditor. And then the last creditor is iSIMs. So from there, we just do the entries. So been told that both goods on credit from the following persons. So we are going to have, these are creditors. What will happen? Will give us the double entry once we buy in on credit. Which book will be affected? When we buy on credit, think, we said when creditors go up, we credit. When they go down, we debit. When assets increase, we debit. When they decrease, we credit. So in this case, our creditors are increasing. So we are supposed to credit. Which book are we crediting? We are buying. So that is purchases, day books. So purchases, I have 54. That is for R. Kelly. The book that will be affected is purchases. I have purchases. So I indicate here R. Kelly. R. Kelly. And R. Kelly is 54. 54. You go on. Then P comes 87. Purchases. This is 84. Should be purchases, not purchase. 87 and no one is correcting me. Guys, if we go wrong in the entries, we are going to lose it. It will never balance. So I go to purchases. P comes. You say the amount is? You are making this class to be monologue. Then we have J roll 25. Just copy. $25. J roll. And the other creditor is D Mobile. $76. Last by not least, we have the iSIM 64. So there we are, iSIMs. That's the transaction number 2. Transaction number 3, sold goods on credit to C Blends, B Long, and F Skin. So the nature of these people is debtors. We'll have debtors account. And I'm foreseeing these, just cut and paste it down here. I'm foreseeing a situation where so we have debtors, and these debtors we have C Blends, B Long, F Skin. C Blends, we have long, and we have F skin. And because they are datas, of course, the sales day book will be the book or the corresponding entry. So we go on. We've been told that sold goods to siblings, 43 pounds, 62 pounds, and 176 pounds. So what happens to when we sell? Our debtors increase. Debtors are current assets. When assets increase, we debit. Yeah. Then our accounts for sales will also increase. And when revenue items increase, we credit. So we have sales. Give me the figures. What's the figure? Can you give me the figures? So we have lanes. Guys, if you continue keeping quiet, you see, there is no need. It beats logic for me to come here and do everything. Of course, I know these things, isn't it? Diana Anindo, I know these things. Why should I? Mbona nakuja hapa kuangalia? I need not do these things if you cannot contribute, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I know more things, not even this one. This only introductory. Yes. So it will be illogical for me to come here, do the debits, do the credit, then I leave. It isn't adding value. The class is supposed to be two-way. So you can imagine the pains that I'm going through. I have to scroll, go up, go down, and I have students in class. It's not supposed to be the case. Kindly give me the figures for sales. What's the figure?
43.
43. I have 43. You'll see how easy it is when we are working together. D long, what's the figure?
62. 62.
62. So I have a credit entry for D long, 62. Then F skin,
176.
good, 176. So I have F skin 176. So you can see how easier we are able to go when we collaborate. So we are done. Then we have paid rent by cash. Paid rent by cash. So you open a rent journal, but the other amount that is affected is cash. So what will happen to cash? Increase or decrease? We are paying rent.
Decrease.
Yeah, decrease. So once it decreases, you are supposed to credit. So we are going to have rent, and we are paying 12. I'll have a rent account. Rent is an income. Just let me just copy this. So this rent account. So my rent account paid by cash. So this 12. We go on, escape. Then I have on May 9th, C. Blaines paid us his account by check. So C. Blaines paid the outstanding by check. C. Blaines account paying by check. So what has happened to C. Blaines? What is that account? Journalize. So what will happen? They are paying by check. So what is happening to debtors? Are they increasing or decreasing? They are decreasing, isn't it? So when they decrease, we credit. And we are doing that by bank. What amount?
150.
150.
Yes.
So I need to have a bank account. So we will decrease. So we come here and talk of C. Blaines. Is it C or D? C. Blaines.
Yes, C. Blaines.
150. We go on. Then we go on. F. Skin paid us by paid 150 pounds by check. F. Skin paid us 150 pounds by check. F. Skin paid us 150 pounds by check. So what has happened? Again, our debtors have decreased 150. So we have F. Skin 150. We go on. Then we are told paid carriage. No, before that, on date 12th.
Excuse me, sir.
You
said when debtors decrease, we credit.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
What's the nature of debtors? We start from there. What are they? What are debtors? Are they assets or liabilities?
Liabilities.
Debtors.
Assets.
The assets. So we start from there. Just know that all assets, when they increase, we debit.
Debit.
When they decrease, we credit. Then from there, you ask yourself, who are debtors? They are assets. So when they decrease, we credit. Have I answered you?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you go on. I'm waiting for the next transaction. We paid the following by check: J. Roll and R. Kelly. I need someone to guide us.
I can say that for J-Roll, since the company made purchases for 25 So since the company paid via check, the cash at bank, the cash at bank will decrease, so we will credit. Yes.
So cash at bank. I go to bank, eh?
Yes.
So here we are. So we are saying our cash is decreasing, so we credit, isn't it?
Yes.
Whom are we crediting?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. 25.
Yes.
So I go to R. Kelly and do the contra entry.
Yes.
Now is it R. Kelly or is it R. Kelly on J-roll? J-roll.
Yes. So
okay.
we will debit J-roll because the account is increasing.
Wonderful. That is correct.
We should change at the bank also down there. We have written
that's where I'm headed. But you also have R. Kelly, isn't it?
Yes.
I'll just put there. Who is this? Who is 25?
J-roll.
J-roll.
J-roll. R. Kelly is?
R. Kelly.
I'm assuming you have the question. I'm assuming you have the question opened on your end. I said we go to our portal.
54.
54. So I'll go to R. Kelly. R. Kelly. So again, I debit bank. 54. Any other creditor who is affected? You have J-roll and R. Kelly only, right? Then we have paid carriage by cash. Paid carriage by cash. Now, carriage is the money that you pay to transport the items. So it's an expense. Yeah. So we have carriage outwards and we have carriage inwards. If we are transporting these goods to the customer, they are called carriage outwards. It's an expense. If they are being transferred in by the supplier, we call them carriage inwards. So this is a case of an expense because we are the business. So we'll open an account here and call it carriage. Let me just replicate this. Should also replicate another one here. Delete the content. What did we say about expenses when they increase? What did we say about expenses? When they increase, they are debited, isn't it? What's the nature? What's the nature of that transaction? Is it cash or at bank? Just need to pay. Paid by cash. Just needed to know that. So cash in hand, what is happening to our cash is decreasing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so cash is an asset, 23. Then we go down there to our carriage expense, they are increasing. So we increase that by 23. We go on. Then the next transaction is bought goods on credit from PCOMs and also mobile. I don't know why my question is pixelating. There are some items that are hidden, but I can always go back to my question. So bought goods on credit from PCOMs 43 and from mobile 110. We are buying goods on credit. So what will happen? bought goods on credit from PCOMs. PCOM is a creditor. I want now a gentleman to answer me. What will happen? Gentlemen are so quiet in this class. So what will happen in the PCOMs books? PCOMs. Bought goods on credit from PCOMs. Someone to guide us? You'll go to the purchases and debit and credit this account, isn't it? I don't know what is not happening to a gentleman. The figures here are 43 and 110 for D-Mobile. Now, who is that? So you go to purchases. How do we help that Kenyan? We have PCOMs. That's why I'm insisting on people muting. Otherwise, you'll give us all your secrets here. So what's the amount for PCOMs? What was it? What's the amount for PCOMs? 43. Then for mobile, 110, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Go on. Then sold goods on credit to belong. Sold goods on credit to belong. Was belong. I had indicated belong. Should be B. So what's the nature of the transaction? We debit sales. What's the amount? What's the amount? Guys, you are letting me down. I'm wondering whether you've opened the question on your end. What's the amount? Have you opened the question on your end? Because if you haven't, you are doing a disservice to this class.
The amount is 67.
It's 67.
Yes.
We go on, we are about. Then we told that sold goods to belong. The last one is paid rent by check. Paid rent by check. So our bank is decreasing and our rent is increasing. So rent is an income. We have bank 18.
Yes.
Is that account bank? Where is my bank account? Just down here. For rent 18. So that's all. Those are the transactions that we had. Can we quickly balance them and get the balances now to the, get our balances now to the, so cash, we only had, capital, we only had one transaction, isn't it? So we balance the book. So our balance carried downward.
250.
250. So I want to explain something here. We said that capital and liabilities and incomes will always have a credit balance, isn't it? So you can see what is happening here. My balance carried downward. When I'm closing this book to transfer the information to statement of comprehensive income, I'm going to bring downward the 250. So kindly note it is a credit balance. Are you seeing that? So capital will always have a credit balance. So I go to cash in hand. Cash in hand. So why is it balancing? On this side, isn't it?
Yes.
So balance carry downward.
215.
215. For the books to balance at 250 pounds, 250 pounds. So you can see I'm going to have a balance roll downward of 215. So it's very automatic. This is cash, this is an asset. Assets will always have a debit balance. Are we there? So we go on, this one has balanced. We have PCOMs, who is a creditor. So balance brought downward. What's the total?
Becomes 130.
130. So the books balances at 130. So I'm going to have a balance. And you see these are creditors. So balance carried downward. So it's very automatic. So you can see, sorry. These are carried downward, these are brought downward. So we are bringing down 130. So you can see creditors are liabilities. Liabilities will always have a credit balance. So we go on, this has balance, they have paid. Again, these have not paid. So we balance is balancing at 186.
Yes.
Go on. Balance go downward of 64. Going to have a balance should be carried. Go downward of 64. We go on purchases.
For 59.
For 59, I'm going to have a balance carry downward of 459. You said 459?
Yes.
459. I'm going to have a balance carry downward of 459. So you can see what is happening. We go on, we go to the debtors. Debtors are assets, and assets will always have a debit balance. We are done with that. We have 150, 150. So where are we balancing these books? Was it 150? Why are we paying more than we sold? Why is he paying more than we bought? Was it 150? Confirm that figure. Sibling. Should it be 43 or 150? Why is he paying more? He should be in error, isn't it? Confirm. Should pay what is owing us. Which transaction is that? It is transaction on May 9th. It is 43, it is not 150. So an accounting student should know or suspect if there is a mistake somewhere. So we go on, belong. We balance our books.
At 129.
129. So that's our balance carried downward. 129. So the books are balancing at 129. I'm going to have a balance go downward of 129. F skin. So what is happening to F skin? He didn't pay everything. Confirm he paid 150. You don't want to make a mistake. He paid 150.
Yes, it's 150.
It's 150. So I needed us to have that
Yes.
before we close the books. So we have a balance go downward of 26. We close the books at 176. We go on. Then we have sales 348. I have a balance carry downward of 348 or 358. 348.
48. Yes.
I should balance the books first at 348. Then I take my balance down there. So balance go downward of 348. We are about. Then rent. Rent is an income.
30. Balance carried down.
Thank you, 30. Books to balance at 30. If you were using the board, would have completed this a while ago. There are some units that just don't augur well when you are doing them on online. That's okay. Mhm.
At
So
bank,
C lane, was it 150 or 43? I don't want us to make a mistake.
43.
It's 43. Mhm. I'm waiting for your balances. Is it a credit balance or a debit balance? This is the data. So we expect a debit balance. So this is 97. 97 minus 193.
96.
6. So the books are balancing at 193. We have a balance downward of 96. Yeah, about. And then we have balance. This is an expense. Expenses will always have a debit balance. Carried downward of 23. We have a balance downward of 23. There we are. So after doing that, we are now ready to prepare the trial balance or do what brought us here. I want to draw it here on the side. That is easier to transfer my book. And basically what we'll do is just to transfer the balances. So just call the book trial balance. Let me merge these cells. Trial balance. As at 31st May. Was it 2013? In 2013. So this will be my debits. And this will be my credits. So we start. What is our first item? Capital. What was the balance for capital? It's 250. It's a credit entry. So you can see where they are now coming in handy. Supposed to be capital. We go on, followed by cash in hand. To avoid missing letters, just follow the cash in hand. We had a debit balance of 215. Then we have R. Kelly. R. Kelly balanced, so we don't have R. Kelly. So you can see the books that had been closed without any balances, we just leave them. Are we together? So we go to pick comps. What's the balance for PCOMs? The creditor, 130. Then we have J-roll balance. We have D-mobile. D-mobile. D-mobile is also a creditor. So we have a credit balance of 186. Then we have iSIMS. iSIMS, a credit balance of 64. Then we have D-Mobile. How many D-Mobiles did we have?
No, you have already written the mobile 186.
Or D-Mobile have indicated. So we have purchases. We have a debit balance of 459. Then we have siblings. Siblings, you are not telling me that he paid. He paid, so he's not owing us. I have belong. Belong has a 129. It's a data. So then you have FF skin 26. F skin 6. Then sales 348. Sales, it's an income 348 should be credited. Then we have rent, it's an expense, debit. 30. Then bank 96 and carriage expense 23. Bank 96. Then we have carriage, which is an expense. Expenses are debited. What is it? 30. Confirm. No, it's 23. So let's see whether our books are balancing. If they are not balancing, we go back to square zero. So this is totaling to 978. And this is totaling to 978. So we are good. Control bold. So there we are. Our trial balance. So basically, the work of the trial balance is to try and ensure you that all your debit entries and the credit entries are balancing. Before you transfer any information now to the relevant books of accounts, that is the statement of comprehensive income and the statement of financial position, you ought to have confirmed that they are balancing. Otherwise, it might take you a hell of a time trying to establish an error that occurred, or what we call the errors of original entry. Could be an error of commission or omission, where you omitted or you commissioned without knowing. For instance, you could see somewhere we are putting 150 instead of 23, etc, etc. And these things happen. So the reason why we do the trial balance is to ensure that our debits and our credits agree before we go to the final books of account. Any question? Have any question? on the trial balance. Any question? In absence of any question, I'll stop sharing. You should go to the portal, we interact from the portal, right? I say there are marks for that. If you don't want to lose your marks, just go in the portal and correspond to what has been put there in the forum. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend.